something I've been putting a lot of thought into lately is purpose. Purpose is what gives our lives meaning. But what is our purpose? It's integral to our existence as humans, and ironically, it's a question that mankind has been known to be struggling with since we first started documenting things. It fuels us to drudge through the monotony of everyday life. Oftentimes, I feel like I switch my purpose constantly. This burning urge or desire to do something that just dissipates into another fleeting idea. As the saying goes, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes is better than a master of one. It's a phrase recorded since 1721. Ironically, despite my disposition towards these qualities, it's a concept that I am at odds with. Not to the point where I disagree completely. I believe everybody's lives reflects their actions and reflects what they're content with being. And me personally, I don't see myself content anywhere. In a strictly material sense, I find the plight of existence rather meaningless, and have since I reached puberty and became consumed with the concept of entropy, cosmic nihilism, atheism, and the very real fact that we're all going to die someday. In 1920, Sigmund Freud published an essay titled Beyond the Pleasure Principle, where he postulates that all instincts fit into two concurrent yet opposing classes, the life drive, eros, and the death drive, thanatos, characterized by the pagan Greek gods for romantic love and sexual attraction with eros and death with thanatos. I don't subscribe to the notion that all of our desires can be tied down in such a binary sense. Although I haven't read the 90-page dissertation, perhaps I'm lacking a fundamental understanding of his message in the essay. In the face of that, I do feel that on some degree, death subconsciously is quite capable of being a drive for us as a collective to achieve great things in our time existing. I believe love is a beautiful thing. I believe love is a beautiful thing. I refuse to take part in the bizarre mating rituals of present day. I could go on and on about it, but truthfully I'd rather not. There's a plethora of content out there doing jobs explaining that dichotomy. While it's entertaining, ultimately I believe the gender war is contrived and unnecessary division. I'd rather not box myself into one category. Which is kind of my issue. I wanted to create music like rap, or playing guitar and making shoegaze. Then I set my sights on fashion, and now digital content creation. I've never once stuck with one thing, and honestly I've just been sort of flippantly rotating my desires and passions myopically. Typically, order is necessary to achieve success, but what's the point? Even if I had the best breakout shoegaze or rap album, the biggest streetwear brand to come out of Harlem, and the #1 content creator on the internet, what does it matter? I'm still gonna die someday. Nothing I do here will be going with me. I believe our legacies are important. It's important to note that when we die, our tombstones are marked by what we're remembered by. Not our failures, not our achievements, but marking if we're succeeded. I think it's interesting we use the word succeeded to describe the act of having children, almost as though we accomplished some sort of life proponent that we were created in order to fulfill. A commonplace narrative is that it isn't a good idea to bring children into a world where we're overpopulated, and that humans are the biggest contributor to the destruction of the environment. It's ironic. The reality is that the carbon emissions of the richest 1% more than double the emissions of the poorest half of humanity. This whole dialectic, in my opinion, is rather contrived. The postmodern world is one of declining birth rates. Abortion is not only societally encouraged politically, but by company policies with no true desire for the betterment of society but to profit, covering even travel expenses and lodging. One must ask, why is that? Could it be that these trillion-dollar conglomerates don't prioritize the pursuit of making a family, continuing the legacy that our ancestors have never failed to accomplish? What is encouraged on a societal level is sexual attitudes that aren't congruent with a flourishing society, or even a functioning one. We're disproportionately representing 3% of the population in our television programming and all facets of life, conditioning the populace and the next generation to same-sex attraction. So go ahead and try to squeeze out every ounce of dopamine you can get from fornication until you realize how vacuous the entire act is. You haven't reached depravity until you regret your sexual actions. Taking a moment to consider how far you've fallen, being driven by base impulses such as the desire to ejaculate. These videos were made by me as a pastime. Originally, I wanted to create these videos to impart something of financial value or inspiration to you. But how could I when I fundamentally view the world we're living in, and thus everything inside of it, as fallen? If you know me, then you should know that I don't place emphasis on this material world, where right is wrong and wrong is right. where everything is perverted and life is fleeting. If you haven't noticed by now, Satan is clearly the god of this world. The message of the cross is foolishness, absurd, and illogical to those who are perishing and spiritually dead because they reject it. But to us who are being saved by God's grace, it is the manifestation of the power of God. We are targeted by our flesh because it is our weakest point, most subject to temptation, greed, and ill desires. The heart is beyond wicked, who can know it? Guard your heart, for from it flow the issues of life. In the concluding moments, all in all, I'm simply a man, 23-year-old man, to be precise, still figuring things out. And I must say, it's a beautiful life.